Jameson Nance was your typical 3-year-old boy. He liked pizza, Paw Patrol, and riding his Spider-Man bicycle. But unlike most 3-year-old boys, he didn't have anyone to fight for him. Today, Jameson would have turned 4 years old. His mother, Erica Dotson, and her boyfriend, Joshua Mans, are the reason he is no longer alive. They are the reason that he is not celebrating his 4th birthday. In the early hours of June 11th, Dotson left for work, leaving Mans to care for young Jameson. Just after 6 p.m., Mans called Dotson as if nothing was wrong. They discussed about going to look for a puppy to bring home. We know based on the medical examiner's report that young Jameson was already deceased during this conversation. Dotson hung up the phone and called 911 and proceeded home. Officers and medical personnel responded to 295 Lagos Circle due to a report of young Jameson not breathing. When officers arrived, they made contact with Erica Dotson. Dotson had exited the apartment and was bringing Jameson downstairs. Jameson appeared to have been deceased for some time. Mans was gone, having left the apartment. Mans did leave behind a written note for Dotson. The note stated while Jameson was taking a bath, Mans had a seizure. He woke to find Jameson floating in the tub. On June 14th, an autopsy shared with investigators what Jameson could not. There was no water in Jameson's lungs. He did not drown. Based on the medical examiner's findings, Jameson suffered through and experienced significant pain and abuse over a 3-week span, ultimately ending with his death. Unfortunately, this was nothing new to young Jameson. In 2019, then 2 years old, Jameson suffered a broken leg after what Dotson reported Jameson falling after running. In March of this year, Jameson suffered another broken leg after it was reported he stepped off a curb. The daycare Jameson attended saw suspicious injuries, and they later described as suspicious. Jameson told daycare staff Mans was the reason for the burns on his arm. Jameson would also tell them that Mans would strike him if he was too loud, or if he woke Mans or his mother. This was reported to a DCF investigator who was taking a report on a separate incident. On June 2nd was Jameson's last reported day at the daycare. On that day, an injury was documented to Jameson's face. Dotson told staff Jameson was attacked by a duck. The horror this child in his short life lived continued and continued until his body said no more. An arrest warrant was issued for Joshua Mans. On June 28th, he was located in Georgia with the help of the United States Marshal Service Southeast Regional Fugitive Task Force, as well as the Tift County Sheriff's Office. He is charged with first-degree murder and being held with no bond. Today, working with the Brevard County State Attorney, an arrest warrant was issued for the person who failed Jameson most, his mother. Erica Dotson has been arrested and is being charged with first-degree murder of Jameson Nance. It should also be noted that Dotson and Nance definitely discussed different stories about how and when certain injuries occurred, but during interviews, nothing appeared to line up or be consistent. There is evidence to support that facts that Erica knew about these life-threatening injuries to Jameson, to include web searches of head injuries to children days before the death. Knowing this, she continued to leave Jameson with Mans, continued to keep Jameson from public view, as they would, if he was seen, law enforcement or DCF would be contacted. She feared what would happen if law enforcement found out about her failure to protect her child. She knew Mans was violent with her son and did nothing to help Jameson. Had she protected her child like a mother should, we will be celebrating a birthday instead of seeking justice. Any questions that I can't answer? This is still an ongoing investigation, but...
Could you first spell the mother's name?
Can I spell the mother's name?
So we get that right.
Yep. Mother's name is Erica, E-R-I-C-A, Dotson, D-O-T-S-O-N.
Now you're saying she just failed to intervene and protect her child, that she did not intentionally inflict harm, as Mr. Mans is accused of, but yet she's still being charged with first-degree murder, the same charge.
So she knew, based on conversations that she had, she knew that her child was injured. She knew that her child was in pain. She knew all these things were happening to her child, yet she kept him from public view to make sure that we as law enforcement were not involved, to make sure that DCF was not involved, because if we were, they know that we would be asking questions, and if so, Jameson may be here today.
Does she have anything to say in her defense?
I don't have any comment on any statements that she had made.
Is she in custody at this time?
She was arrested a little while ago.
Has she been transported to Sharps?
She is currently en route there now.
Well, Mr. Nance fled, but was she cooperative with police? I know you said her stories didn't match up, but did she cooperate with the investigation?
Yeah, she was arrested today with no issue, with no incident.
Does she have any other children?
She does not that I'm aware of.
Mr. Nance was her boyfriend?
Was her significant other, yes.
Did he live there? I noticed the address was Lago Circle. Did he live there at the residence with the mom?
Yes.
Is he the child's father?
No.
Have you contacted the child's father, and what's going on with the child's father?
I don't have any information about any conversation that we've had with the child's father.
Do you expect any other charges or any other arrests in this case, since the original suspect's family helped harbor him for a while?
Well, like I said earlier, this still is an ongoing investigation. We're looking at all kinds of aspects, anything, just to make sure that we're thorough in our investigation.
Did any interviews with Mr. Nance lead you to this information to arrest Jameson's mother?
The inconsistency in the stories was part of our probable cause.
I don't know if there are any concerns about the daycare. It sounded like DCF learned about some injuries that they had seen that were suspicious kind of after the fact, after the little boy was already dead. Do you have any concerns with the daycare not reporting something earlier?
We're still looking at all aspects. The daycare is in the city of Melbourne, not in the city of West Melbourne.
Now, I don't know if we thought this story could possibly get any worse, but what you're saying about the mother, just how disturbing is it that you're saying she played just as big of a role?
Well, you know, a mother is supposed to protect their children. I mean, they're supposed to be the person who looks after you and nobody else will. And here we have a case where a mother did the exact opposite. You know, had no concern, didn't take the steps she should have to protect her child. And that's awful. It's horrifying.
Do you know what motivated Mr. Nance to allegedly inflict harm on Jameson?
No, I do not.
Where did the mom work? Did she work at a hospital?
She did. She worked at a local hospital here in Brevard County.
Was she employed as a nurse or, you know, medical professional?
I think that she was a CNA, I believe. A CNA. Okay. Well, thank you guys again for coming and sharing the story. And again, I'll have some 911 call. Yeah, I'm going to have the 911 call available that you can pick up at the front desk. All right. Thank you.